Hey guys, Jason here from DTB Traders. I have got a new update to the DTB system, so I thought I would release a video for it. A little bit detailed video on the strategy, the specific strategy that I have been working with. So we are going to have a look at that and just make sure everything is working on my side. It looks like it is. Okay, great. Okay, so let's jump to the desktop. So whenever there's a new assembly released, which is fairly often, I try and make sure I do little updates and I do, just little improvements as I go along. If I find anything that can be made better or can be improved on, I actually just work on that in the background and then I release them periodically. So to show you how you actually process that update, first thing you would do inside NinjaTrader is make sure you've closed all of your workspaces. So the very first thing you do, close your workspaces and just leave a blank workspace. So I've got an untitled workspace. I closed all the rest. So first step is Tools, remove NinjaScript Assembly, and you'll remove the existing one that is there. So the last one was 6th of January. You'll click on Remove, you'll click on Yes, and OK, close. And what you will do is you will close NinjaTrader. So very good idea to close NinjaTrader before you even import a new assembly. Then going into your desktop, your documents folder, NinjaTrader 8, this is where you've got your script file. So you will run your script file, select that, and this is the option we're going to be using very frequently, number 4, which is going to update the templates. It's going to clean out NinjaTrader, and it's also going to launch NinjaTrader in high priority, but also going to update to the newest assembly. So this is going to download the newest assembly to our computer as well. And you can close your documents folder in the background, so that's fine. And then you will just enter your password to get into your NinjaTrader. Okay, so as soon as it's opened, you don't have to connect to a data feed yet. So go Tools, Import, NinjaScript add-on, and you'll go down to your Documents, NinjaTrader 8, DTB Assemblies, and there you will see the 10th of January. The 6th of January shouldn't actually be there. I thought I fixed that up, but always make sure you only update to the latest dated one there, obviously. So we're going to upload, we're going to select that one, click on Open, and that is going to import all the tools back into NinjaTrader. And then as soon as you've done that, you can go to any of your workspaces and you can open up any previous workspace you've been working on. Okay, so that is the process of updating to the new assembly. So regarding this specific update, this is going to be on the Medina Wick Trader strategy. So I've dragged a screen from a window from another screen, and I've just been running it on playback because I'm actually just testing the features. So the Medina Wick Trader strategy, I'm just going to pause the strategy where it is right now. Okay, and just go into the strategy settings. And we'll run through some of the settings in here. Okay, so just in disabling it, going to the top. Okay, so ludicrous mode is the first setting on top there. This can actually be activated with a button on the chart. So we will look at that as we're running it. So you don't have to specifically select it here because it is activated via a button. Okay, daily stops and targets. I'm not using it for this example, but you can also choose which one to use, your trading drawdown for the strategy. So when you're running the strategy, these will be the specific values that are actually being met. So let me just deactivate my video so we can see the whole screen. Okay, perfect. So again, you got your account. So you're able to select your trading account that you want to have access of. So if you're running multiple strategies and you want a specific account stop loss and an account target, you can select that here, but it does not work on playback. So I specifically programmed the strategy that if it is the playback connection, it won't work here, because we're not trying to, we don't want to use the playback for this feature. It's only for live trading. If we scroll a little bit down, you'll see a setting here saying enable to check for opposite positions first before entering a new trade. So what happens with this strategy is it is going to be entering trades on retracements, and if there are any open positions, any long open positions, before it enters any short positions, it's going to make sure that all trades have either hit their targets or their stops first before the signal change. So that's basically what I've even written over there. Retracement is the value of how far price needs to retrace before a trade is entered. Obviously your trade size is the value of the size of the trade. Maximum entries, how many trades you want your strategy to enter up to a total. This can also be adjusted in real time on the chart. Minimum distance from baseline to enter a position. So that's from the start of the candle, how many ticks you want the price to be away from the start of the candle before enter positions are entered. We've got a delay first trade, so that is how many ticks the very first trade needs to go up the wick before it even looks at entering position. So say for example we've got the 20 tick value in here. So what will happen is the price will go 20 ticks, it'll go an extra 10 ticks. When it retraces that 10 ticks, it is within the value, so it'll be 30 ticks up, back down to 20. So the first trade will enter at 20 ticks from the start of the candle. And then all other trades will enter, and it will basically enter all the way up to 5 ticks from the start of the candle. So we're basically setting a range, and like we've got a maximum distance. So the strategy is going to enter positions between the minimum distance and the maximum distance. That is the value of the candle itself. But we'll look at that in more detail in a moment. I've also got a tick buffer in here, entries versus exit. So what this is supposed to do is so when a trade exits, it's not going to enter trades within that range of that last entry. So this is to prevent the broker's data feed, the lag. It's basically a lag. So unfortunately, a lot of the brokers have got a terrible lag when there's entry orders and exit orders, and they could sometimes be mixed up. So this helps with that lag, so you don't get any error messages. Very important. We've got the rest of the settings. We've got our option to use 3 different types of targets and stops. So we can use a trailing stop, and this is also a movable stop and target. We can choose an exact value on a candle to enter or to have a take profit and a stop ticks. That is the specific distance from the beginning of the candle. So those are specific values. So they're good if you're using a trending or flat baseline chart, not really a minute chart. And for individual targets and stops, this is the one you would be using. So each trade will have, in this instance, a 77 target and a 200 stop. We've got our trading hours, trading days. We've got signal charts in the background that can be activated, but I'm going to cover the specific update that I've done. So I'm just going to activate the strategy on the default settings. Actually, these aren't default settings. I've just made a few little adjustments, but I'm going to activate the strategy, and we'll see it on the chart coming up. Again, I've got it on playback, and I've got it on playback just so I can show you in faster time what these updates look like. Okay, so I'm just going to press start. Like I said, I've just got some random playback running over here. So when the strategy is in start mode like this, we've got to space our trade. So what's going to happen is the price is going to enter based on the retracement, minimum distance, the delay. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, great. So basically what's happened there is the candle has started. You've got a delay and you've got the price running, and then we've had a retracement. So that retracement value is over there, and we've got our first position, and our trades are going to be spaced out by 15 ticks. So if we run this, we're going to have trades enter and exit based on that. So there was the second trade. We had a trade enter over there. We had a trade enter over there. The first one over there, the second one over there. So if we do this, we'll see that there's a 15 tick. So that's almost exactly on the money. So a 15 tick distance. So every trade that you enter will be spaced out according to the value that you've got in here. All right. So we'll enter that, let that run. So you'll see it will keep moving the price. Enter another position. So while the price is floating around this area, it's not going to enter any more positions because we are spacing out the entries. Okay, so that is going to continue. We'll just let this run for a little bit. So this is what you'll be looking at. I don't know what this candle is going to do. It could go, so there another trade entered. Now we've got up to 4 positions at the moment. They're all spaced out. There's their stops and their targets. Okay, so this specific setting, if we look in the background, if we look at the strategy settings, you will see that that tick box is enabled to check for opposite positions first before exiting. So what this means is that none of these trades will exit until their stops and targets have hit. You will not have any short positions. So you will not have any short positions right now until all of these long positions have hit their stops or their targets. Okay, so that is what this one is going to do. So I'll speed that up a little bit. Now, as you may have guessed, this is not a fully 100% automated strategy where you just set and forget it. It does require you to start and stop it and pause it during the right times of the day, if you're not using any filters like we're using here. So at the moment we've got no filter selected, so we're just entering positions. So this is, come on, that's going to continue running. You'll see it's got 0 retrace, so it should be entering trades if that option wasn't selected to space out the entries. So that's another thing that I'll show you in a moment. I just want these trades to exit, whether they hit their stops or their targets. There we go. Okay, so that was outside trading hours. I didn't see that. Okay, so that's 4 o'clock. So basically the strategy ends trading at 3:50. Okay, so that was not a great time just to do it right, to show the working of it, but that's okay. And what I might just do, it's going to wait for the next trade. Let me just rewind it. That'll be simpler. So at least you saw there how the delay worked, how the spacing of the entries worked out, the retracement of the price retraces. The minimum distance, the maximum distance, so all of those markers were actually in place to show you where the trading of the strategy is actually going to take place. So I've rewound the playback. So sometimes if you rewind playback, it stays gray like this for ages. A good thing to do then is to go to your control panel and go disconnect and then reconnect, and then what that'll do is it will just refresh the playback. But we'll just do this for now. I don't know a way to pause this while I'm working, but I can't because it is live, so that's fine. sorry for the delay with this. Okay, so we've seen how that works. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the same, letting the strategy run again. You'll see it's running on max speed. I can select the start of it. I can make sure that it starts trading. So it's going to start trading now. Okay, and I mentioned on our group Zoom call the other day that the strategy is going to enter positions like it's supposed to. So it's waiting to pass the delay, which is the delay we set there. We can adjust that delay. As you see, I've adjusted it over there. So as the price retraces, it's going to enter positions. Now, what you can do, say for example, you're in one position right now and you don't want any more positions to enter, you can actually press the start button again, and it will pause the strategy in the sense that it won't enter any future trades. So all that will happen right now is the strategy will basically just keep that one position open, and it'll either hit its stop or its target. Okay, so that's what it'll just continue happening. If at any stage you want to exit that position, you can actually just press the pause button. Then that will exit that position. You see? So that is something to look at. So if I want to start the strategy again, I'll press start. Now, this is the cool feature that I've added. So you'll see I've got the space out entries there, the space out trades. Now, if you don't want to space out your positions, I've got a little hidden button click over here. So it's the account button. So if you click on the account button, it hides the space out trades, and it also disables it in the settings. So what will happen now is the strategy is going to enter positions without spacing out the trades. So you'll see there, it's just going to be entering positions, based on the retracement, and you're going to have entries, at all different parts on the wick based on that retracement. Okay, so that's the second one there. Exact same thing you can do again. You can pause it. You can pause the strategy over like this to stop it from entering more positions, or you can simply click on the pause button to exit the position. So what's going to happen here is the strategy is going to enter trades based on all the based on the retracement. So again, you've got the option here to, I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. Okay, so this should be entering positions now based on the retracement. Okay, you'll see in the strategy settings, I've got that box. I've still got that box ticked, you see, enable to check for opposite positions first. So what's going to happen with this is it's going to only exit those positions when their stops or targets have been hit. Okay, so some people like that. They like to be in control of the positions. They want those positions to hit their stops or targets first. Okay, so that is fine. Now I'm going to go into the strategy settings, and I'm actually going to remove that tick box. So I'm going to just disable that tick box. Okay. So disable that tick box, and this is the one here. So with this disabled, you are going to notice that the trades are going to exit when the signal changes, or when the price drops below the start of that candle. So give that a moment to get going. Press the start button. So you're going to see now that you're going to have the strategy enter prices when that retracement goes to 0. So whenever it hits a new high, it's going to hit that. It's going to reset that retracement value. We're waiting for the delay, so it's going to only enter trades based on passing that delay. So like there's the first position, there's a second position. You see it's not spacing out the trades at all. And the next thing we're going to look at is when the price goes opposite. There we go. So you see what happened there? The signal had changed from a short position the price retraced against the previous trade. So you see we had retracements for short positions there. What happened there is we had retracements for long positions. So by disabling that box, and we are now making sure that when the price does play around in a specific zone, you know, like this, then it's going to be, you know, up, and it's going to be opening and closing positions as the price bounces around a very specific, like a squeeze zone. So this strategy is very good for trading in a squeeze environment. So as you can see, it's entering and exiting positions based on, you know, that squeeze environment and when the signal changes. Now, there's also something called the ludicrous mode. So this is the mode that I was talking about earlier. Now, the ludicrous mode is a specific value of ticks between the delay first trade and the start of the candle. Okay, so it might be a bit complicated for some of you guys initially to understand this, but if you look through the settings of the strategy, you will see over there you've got a delay first trade, the tick value, okay, and then you have got that delay. So you've got, let me just see, the tick buffer. So it's got to do with the tick buffer and the minimum distance. So you'll see on the trading chart, if you move your delay button, say I've got a delay of 30 ticks, you will see that I'll just remove some of the text from the chart. Okay, just to make this markers, that'll be fine. So you'll see the ludicrous. Now the ludicrous is where the price needs to touch for those trades to exit. So let's let this run like this in full speed. So there's the delay, enter of the trades. The price is going to enter, but as soon as the price comes and touches this level over here, those trades will exit. So you see it's like that. So the ludicrous and the delay. So it's going to exit at the ludicrous, and it's only going to enter new positions when it passes that delay. So there you can see it actually exited at the ludicrous point. So if I go back to the data series and I reactivate the text and the marker, you'll see it specifically says there, ludicrous exit long. So, you know, the really cool thing about this strategy and why I love it so much is you are able to adjust the settings of the strategy instead of entering position. So it's a very different mindset when you are managing a strategy instead of physically entering positions. You'll be blown away of how much more appealing that is for a lot of people. So I'll continue letting this run. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can adjust settings while you're working. So you are able to adjust the stop ticks and the target ticks. So you can see I've adjusted there. So when you adjust these stops and targets, any new trades will respect those values. And it's the same with the stop. You know, you can adjust how much stop ticks each individual trade will actually have. Now, obviously, you've got to be looking at signal charts while you're doing this. That's not just like start the strategy and hope for the best. You actually have to be looking at a different signal chart, just seeing where price is likely to go next. You can choose whether you want to go long trades or short trades only. So, you know, all based on what a chart is telling you of where likely price is going to be going next. So if you select, like I've done there, that I only want the strategy to enter short positions, that's all that will happen. And at any time, if I do not want these positions to continue like that, I can press the pause button until I am ready, okay, to activate the strategy again. So for example, those were all long positions. They all hit their stops because, you know, we let it run. But you've got the option to actually pause the strategy, wait for a better time to re-enable it, and when you're happy with the time to re-enable it, you can press the start button and it will start entering positions again based on, you know, the retracements and everything that it does. So this is how you can manage it. You can also choose how many entries. So if you want to only enter, you know, 3 positions maximum, you can drag the slider to 3. So very cool settings we have in the strategy. I mean, I don't know any other strategy that you're able to adjust settings in real time like this, apart from the strategies that we have. So, you know, we can adjust all the different values. So you could even choose the minimum distance and the maximum distance. So as soon as you adjust those values, you will see that those lines appear on the chart. So for example, you'll see a minimum enter and a maximum enter. So what that means is that trades will only enter between those values. So you can specifically choose a range of a candle of where you want entries to enter. Okay, so that's something you do. And I've specifically made this for our trending and our flat baseline chart. So you can specifically choose which section of the wick you actually want to trade. Okay, so like you can see there, I selected short only in that example. So the button is selected short only. So there's only going to be short trades entered. And you'll see now that that box has moved because there's a new candle now, right? And as it goes above and below the opening of that candle, it's going to choose, or it's only going to enter in that specific zone. Okay, let me remove some of this text. So that is the main update for the strategy. You'll see how it enters positions. You're able to put the ludicrous mode on and off. If you disable the ludicrous mode, the line will disappear off the chart and it will say off. You can go and choose long positions, short positions, whatever you want to do. You can activate your signal charts. So by clicking on, you know, the signal chart combo box, you'll see on top there it says signal chart 2020 DTB bars, and it's got those values. So you can go load up your signal chart, okay, which is basically this. So if I go templates and I go load and I go signal chart combo 4, okay, which is the one that's built into the strategy. So the strategy is going to be entering trades based on what this signal chart is telling you. So it's only going to enter based on the settings in the signal chart. And as you can see at the bottom there, 10, 5, 2, 2, minus 5, 10, those are the ones, the same values inside there. Obviously they can be changed in the settings. So whatever you change your signal chart, whatever values you change on there. So basically with this, when it's green, when the bars are green, and then when the magenta, it's in a zone of trading. But the most important things is, you know, you can click the account button and it will start spacing out your trades again. So if you want to space out your trade, you don't want too many trades entering in one specific location, you can select that. You can untick the box, or you can click the account button again. That will disable that, and, you know, let it go. We got short only, we can switch over to both again. We've got the signal chart going. So while the signal chart is on in the background, it's not going to enter trades on every retracement. It's going to first look at that signal chart and determine if it is within a range of trading. Okay, so guys, I hope that is very helpful for you guys. Some really nice updates to the strategy. A really cool strategy to manually trade the markets, you know, by controlling when it does trade, when it doesn't trade, and that. So there we go. All right, so that is that. I'll take away this for a second. To the markers only. Again, you can activate your ludicrous mode whenever you want. You can also activate the smoothing average. So you'll see that there's also a smoothing average box on there. So if you look into your strategy settings, you can preset what the smoothing average is. So if you look at the strategy settings, you'll see it's got a very specific section over there If you scroll down, you'll see use smoothing average. It's got a step size and a smoothing period. So if you want to, you can also go to your indicator list like this, and you can add your smoothing average. So if we look at the DTB smoothing average, this one over here, and we use the same settings that are in the strategy. So remember, in the strategy, you're also able to adjust these settings, okay? So because the strategy had 5 and 5 in there, we are going to be using 5 and 5. So what will happen here is whenever the dots are green, it'll only enter long positions. Whenever the dots are red, it's only going to enter short positions. So that's a good way too of making sure that you are always following, you know, the current trend. So if I speed this up right now, you'll see that it's not entering any long positions now because you've got red dots. And you'll see if the price had to retrace, you know, up a little bit above the start of the candle, it will enter a short position. I've also deactivated the other signal chart so that only the smoothing average indicator is being used in the strategy right now. Again, you can disable the ludicrous. Last thing I just want to show you is, you know, it's entering a short position. So you'll see there's our short positions. It's basically entering a short position because of that, you know, that filter. Okay guys, that is it. So I thought I'll just let that out. So please go and update to the latest assembly. You will see that it's immediately available. Run the script, get it installed, and work with the strategy. It is absolutely incredible to work with. You'll see that the technology in this is out of this world. Literally nobody has anything like this. I really focus on developing and working with tools that are, you know, that make it nice and simple for you guys to trade the markets. Now, I know it does look a little bit like there's a lot to it, but there's only a few things you really have to understand with it. And if you just played with it for an hour or two on playback, like we have over here, you'll quickly see how it works, when it enters trades, and then you'll be able to run this live during live conditions, which is going to obviously be a lot slower than in playback, and manage the strategy. You know, like I said, manage the strategy instead of trying to enter positions, because the strategy, you know, is able to, you know, enter very fluidly. You haven't got the same intense, you know, feelings when it comes to managing a strategy as opposed to entering positions. I know some people do struggle with that. So this is a great way to do that. Okay guys, thank you so much, and we'll see how the rest of the week goes. We're going to have our group Zoom call on Sunday night again, which is also going to be broadcast